I even begin, bro? The moment everybody's been waiting for. You feel me? The moment the game watchers have been waiting for. The moment the TV watchers didn't even know what was about to happen. A lot of speculation, a lot of, you know, me personally, I thought they would have waited. I thought they would have waited until, maybe episode 6, episode 7, you feel me? Build up Jackson a little bit more, this, that. But it kind of probably would have felt like it was stretching. Um, One of the most controversial moments in gaming history, for sure. 5 years later, we're in 2025. The game came out in 2020. You can go look in any comment section, you know, from then till now. People very much so, very charged up, very angry, very defending, very the most polarizing decision I feel like ever in gaming. I don't know about, within, TV shows, movies, whatever, but definitely sent you're either, pitchforked up with the flames and all that, walking down the street with the mob, you know, for Neil Druckmann's head, or you're claiming that this is the greatest decision ever made as far as storytelling goes in a video game ever. So this episode right here holds a lot of weight. I know a lot of people feel like episode 3 in the first season went down as probably one of the best TV episodes in television history. So this one right here, it may not people may not look at it in that light of like quality of the best episode ever. Although I have seen a lot of people say that, but I feel like this one is, as far as talking points go, you know, there's been a lot of back and forth on how they went about it. Me personally, introducing Abby at the beginning and having Abby tell her story, not tell her whole story, but tell her intentions from the bat, where you don't get that like blindsided, you know. I feel like Neil and Craig, when they were making this, I feel like Neil just didn't want to deal with it, bro. Honestly, I feel like Neil Druckmann just did not want to deal with going through this again. So they softened the blow. I personally feel like. I know they're gonna say, there's just certain things that you can't do in the game, and they're right. You can't. I was gonna say, like, you can't play as Abby in a TV show. You can have her perspective. You can follow her around with her group and whatever, but you can't necessarily play with her and her point of view to then have it intersect into Joel and Ellie's story. Like, I don't really know what I'm trying to say, but I know what I'm trying to say. Like, there's just a certain feeling that you get from the game from like being this character. You're walking around, you're looking left, you're looking right. When you come across the infected that come out of the ground, come out of the snow, like you feel that fear, but you feel that fear in shoes of that character. You're trying to now protect that character. You're using that character's fists to attack. Like you're them, So that feeling that you get of like going from playing this character to then seeing that character in a cutscene take out Joel, there's just this feeling of like betrayal. There's this blindsided feeling of betrayal that you feel where you're like, what have I just done? Like, who was I controlling? Like, where I didn't see this coming at all. And it makes you feel a certain way. Like, seeing that happen in the show, now you can, like I said, you can follow her around. You can see her in scene to scene to scene to scene. But the TV show isn't necessarily, TV show shows the villains, like, all the time. They're not necessarily telling you, like, hey, you're this person and you need to be feeling what they're feeling, So there are differences. But I can say that I feel at the end of the day, Neil and Craig, they're just like, bro, we're not going through 2020 again, bro. Like, that had to be one of the obviously one of the greatest moments, one of the greatest achievements in Naughty Dog's, uh, tenured history of gaming and Neil's, history of being a game director, one of the greatest achievements. I feel like one of my favorite games, if not top two, top three favorite games of all time. But bro, he wasn't trying to deal with that again. He was not trying to deal with that again.
Because stuff happens.
What's going on here? But yeah, he wasn't trying to deal with that again, bro. I think I'll go along as I play this video. We got Screen Crush, Screen Rant, whatever. No, sorry. We're gonna go through, talk about some points of the episode, see how I felt about them as we go. Let's go.
Stupid, old man. You don't get to rush this. Welcome back, Screen Crush. I'm Ryan, and this is all of the Easter eggs, references, and little things you've missed in the second episode of The Last of Us Season 2. So this episode is absolutely monumental for the series, and not just because we lose Joel, but due to everything we learn about the evolution of the cordyceps fungus. Now, as with everything we've seen in the series thus far, this episode stays true to key elements from the game while making minor tweaks to fit the HBO show better. And in this case, that meant throwing in enough frozen undead to make the Night King jealous.
That's my thing!
And before we get started, don't forget to check out our Last of Us parody merch at our merch store. We have the Outbreak Day and Fireflies Look for the Light. Or you can become a member of the Alpine Clicker Patrol. Links for all of these are below. And now you can become a store member to earn rewards and get free stuff.
Person, I'm reading the comments and we missed a lot of stuff in last video.
Oh, Doug, I'm just getting to that. So before we dive into this episode, I want to talk about a few things that we missed in last week's breakdown. So in the last episode, when we were introduced to the Salt Lake crew, we forgot to mention that Nora is played by Tati Gabrielle, a Naughty Dog veteran. Not only did she star as Joe Braddock in the film adaptation of Uncharted, but she also plays the new protagonist in Naughty Dog's latest game, The Heretic Prophet. We also forgot to talk about Ellie's fresh ink, which is not only used to cover up her clicker bite scar and to keep her immunity a secret, but it also holds a lot of symbolism. The plant on her arm is specifically a fern, which symbolizes endurance, renewal, and adaptability, fitting for someone who's going through everything that she has. It also features a moth, the same moth seen on the guitar deck that Joel gives to Ellie. Now, moths are drawn to light, just as Joel and Ellie seek hope through darkness. However, a recent trailer shows how Gale assigns another meaning to it later on.
So what's a moth?
Death. If you believe in that shit.
And as Andrea Guire5698 pointed out in the comments of our last video, the composer for The Last of Us, Gustavo Santaolalla, actually made a cameo appearance in the last episode, as he does in-game. Now, in episode 2, we start off with the dream sequence of Abby reliving the discovery of her father. Now, in the game, we see this moment fully played out, brains and all, but the show opted to have this future version of her narrate the gruesome details to her younger self and save all the gore for later. In fact, we don't...
This was interesting, because I was like, okay, it almost felt like it was about to be another show. It almost felt like they was about to get like superpowers and like Ellie's like rage and trauma and Abby's rage and trauma was just gonna like fuse and it was gonna make some kind of like super, like thriller, like psychological thriller. Like there are elements of it, but like, where just shit was gonna be left and right, like to where the whole episode goes by and we don't even know if that was the real Abby. You feel me? Like, she wakes up from a dream and she's like, huh, what'd I do? Like, this was an element that I didn't think that they were going to introduce in the show. I mean, it was interesting. I don't even know. I don't want to say if it worked or didn't work for me because I don't really know, like, how to feel about it, but it was interesting, for sure.
We don't even hear anything as her younger self enters the next room. Not even a scream like she does in the game, as if her subconscious is actively trying to suppress the trauma. Fun fact for you, the actress who played mocap for Abby was actually in that doctor scene in Season 1, so in a way, Abby's already in that room. She wakes up in the Salt Lake crew's new, beautiful skylit cabin in the woods just overlooking Jackson. Now you can tell they're camped out in some sort of family game room due to all the board games and toys on the shelf, including this goofy little dinosaur that's just chilling on the planter in the background while Joel's brutally murdered later. The story of this episode, and really of The Last of Us in general, is about the young inheriting the Earth and what they choose to do with that new blank slate. Ellie gets this through her fresh start in Jackson and a blossoming new relationship, while Abby gets to redefine who the Fireflies are in the wake of Joel's actions and Utah. But just like the cordyceps fungus itself, they choose to go down a path of violence and revenge that creates an endless cycle between them, arguably destroying the world they inherited, just like the Infected destroyed Jackson in this episode. Now, the video game left these Salt Lake Crew's motivations ambiguous at this point in the story, but the HBO series paints a much more humanizing picture of them. When Owen tells the crew the real plan, paints a much more human.
This is hilarious to me. And like, when I seen the difference in height, and like obviously Abby's smaller, and like this, I don't know why this is just so funny to me. Like that, I don't. Did I talk about this in the last one? Well, I don't know, but like, it's not supposed to bother me, and it doesn't really actually bother me. But when I do think about it, like in the game, Abby and Owen were like, I don't know, like their dynamic was so like back and forth with each other, and Abby was so swole that I felt like if things really got to it, like Abby could probably knock Owen out or something like that. Like if they really fought, and like now when I see them, if they get into like any confrontation, like Owen's literally like a foot taller than her, bro. So that's just funny to me.
A humanizing picture of them. When Owen tells the crew the real plan
is to convince her to go back. So if we don't, the only people getting killed there are us.
it's clear that none of them were actually serious about going through with it.
But wait, does he want to go after Joel too?
Of course, Doug, but he's trying to be pragmatic about it. There's no way they could just walk into Jackson and take out one of their own without losing the whole crew in the process. It's clear that the promise Owen made to Abby was simply to console her, which makes it all more tragic that she accidentally ends up getting what she wants. You know, when I meet a lot of you guys at our live shows, the best compliment that I get is that as soon as you watch something, you always turn straight to Screen Crush.
Oh, that is nice. But who do you like to watch breakdown stuff?
Oh my God, there are a ton of great breakdown channels out there for different things. But let me tell you this, if you are a DC fan, you can check them out on the Max YouTube channel with this QR code or our link in the description or wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes come out every other Friday, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss an episode. That's the DC Studios Showcase wherever you get your podcast. Now, back to what I was saying. Abby suits up in an outfit nearly identical to the one that she wears in-game, but with a bit of added protection against the cold, which makes sense given the thermometer that we see outside the window tells us it's minus 20 degrees Celsius or 0 degrees Fahrenheit for us Americans.
Spell that for me? Impossible.
At that temperature, any exposed skin can freeze within as little as 30 minutes, which makes the concerns for hypothermia very real, as we see later in this episode. Then we go back to Ellie being woken up by Jesse, which actually takes us to the very first scene in the game after the title card, and it plays out almost exactly the same way. Even the dialogue is word for word from that opening scene with only a few minor differences.
I didn't like this. I didn't like this scene right here. And I think it was because it was literally word for word. And I think that's where game adaptations kind of shine. And I feel like that's where game adaptations like kind of fall into a hole. When they have some of those scenes where it's just like, you know this scene word for word, you know every emotion, you know how it was, and they try to follow that, boom, 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 boom. I didn't like how they were delivering the lines for some reason. I don't know, like, I think when Ellie did it in the game, she was kind of like real tired and like, you know, a little sluggish, like, I don't know what Bella was doing here. She kind of seemed like she had energy, but was trying to like act like she didn't have energy. I don't know. It was just a little off. It was off.
Most notably, how Ellie reiterates that Dina was high.
I heard you had quite a night after I left.
Yeah, she kissed me. It was just Dina being Dina. She didn't mean anything.
You hear that? Like, you see you
Donate
hear
plasma
that?
today and receive up to $700 your first month. CSL Plasma. Do the amazing.
All right, thanks. Oh my God.
We are not a traditional cafe. We're completely unconventional. And my Wix website really has to capture the
Lamb? We pulling up lamb for the dogs?
You kissed her.
We also see, yet again,
Hold on.
Me. It was just Dina being.
You see what I'm
Dina was
saying
high.
here?
I heard you had quite a night after I left.
Yeah, she kissed me. It was just.
Like, face completely, like, face card great, like, you feel me, real healthy, like, up, awake. She kissed me, like, and then you got Ellie, you feel me?
Dina being Dina. She didn't mean anything by it.
Dina being Dina, she didn't mean, you feel me, like, you feel like, yo, I just woke up, like, what are you doing at my door, nigga, like, and then you gonna come at me with, like, this Dina stuff, like, you can feel the weight of I need the depression. You feel me? Like, you can feel the weight of everything that's going on with her when she's speaking. Bella is just like, she's just here, bro. Like, she's just happy-go-lucky. She's on the set. They told her to be sad today. She tried it, didn't really work out, and they was like, all right, bro, just do what you do. That's pretty much the vibe that I get from Bella, bro. Honestly.
You kissed her.
We also see, yet again, just how much Ellie surrounds herself with music. Even the window pane here has music sheets attached to it. As Ellie and Jesse walk through Jackson, however, we get some new insight on the unique aspect that the show is going to bring to the Cordyceps threat. He explains,
They're using their own dead like insulation.
which is both absolutely horrifying and surprisingly grounded in reality.
Wait, are you saying the mushrooms hibernate?
Well, while they don't necessarily hibernate per se, they do enter a dormant state in unfavorable conditions. We know from the very first episode that the Cordyceps fungus tends to prefer warmer temperatures.
What if the world gets slightly warmer? Well, there is reason to evolve.
Which is why the fungus was able to grow in Jackson's insulated root-filled pipe. In the real world, Cordyceps fungus will guide host underground and emerge in the spring. The fungus in The Last of Us is much more complex, as we see reiterated when Jesse mentions how the whole town is spooked by Ellie's stalker story.
Also, somebody told the council a ghost story about the world's smartest infected, and now everybody's spooked out of their mind.
Then Jesse starts poking around about what's going on between her and Joel, but Ellie quickly cuts him off.
But I'm still me. He's still Joel, and nothing's ever going to change that.
Now, in previous videos, we speculated that the show might change the order in which Ellie learns the truth about what happened in Utah, but this scene seems to confirm that she already knows what happened. After her rant, Ellie mentions wanting to go on patrol with Joel, but Jesse tells her that he went on patrol with Dina instead, a major change from the game. In the game, Joel was on patrol with Tommy when he runs into Abby, but HBO decided to switch that up so Tommy could stay back for the giant battle with the infected, which was...
Jeez. I like the switcheroo, and I don't like the switcheroo. I like it, and the reason why I don't, the warning right now is going to sound sus, but it's not that weirdo shit going on. The reason why I like it, first of all, is obviously, you know, Dina's motivations. Like, a lot of people had a criticism of the game saying, like, why did Dina go? Like, she was just there to be with Ellie, giving up her life for no reason. And, you know, now, like, they have, you know, the scene in the first episode of Dina chopping it up with Joel, trying to figure out what's going on with them and Ellie. Like, Joel's in therapy talking about, man, I rock with Dina more than I rock with Ellie. You feel me? Like, I get along with her more than I get along with Ellie. So, you feel me? They're setting up that whole thing of, like, Dina had attachment. She had a connection with Joel that would, you know, warrant her giving her life to go get revenge for him as well. So, I really do like that change. What I don't like is that they're taking away the real super intimate scenes with Dina. And me personally, I don't need to see it. I don't need to see anybody getting their cheeks clapped in this world, to be honest. Later on, if you know what I'm talking about. I don't really need to see any of that, to be honest. I don't care. But when it comes to the idea of, like, why we're not doing some of this stuff, I just feel like they're trying to protect Bella as Ellie. I feel like there's a lot of things, a lot of adult themes, a lot of adult aggression, a lot of, like, us opening up with her doing the whole, you know, jiu-jitsu on the dude in the barn and this, and, like, don't pull punches and all that. Like, I feel like they're really trying. They've seen all the hate. They've seen all the messages saying that she's miscast and she looks young and she this, that. It feels like they're just trying really hard to, like, make people believe that she's just, like, this savage. And then on the flip side, they have moves like this where it's like, I feel like the most that they're going to be showing, I could be wrong, but it feels like the most that they're going to be showing of her being intimate or, like, doing adult things is going to be, like, some kisses. Maybe some tongue kisses. I'm not being weird, being like, man, I need some... No, I don't need that. But I'm saying, like, I can see the decisions where they're like, we don't really want to, like, have that scene for her. We don't really want to have this scene for her. We don't really want to have that. Like, I can see where the shielding, the coddling is going on. Like, I can see it. It just feels like, as far as, ironically, they're talking about don't pull punches, but they're pulling punches all over the place as far as like what they're allowing her to do and what, like, you know, that's what I feel like. Could be wrong. Later on in the season, it could get there. And I don't need to see it, but I'll respect it if they do it. Is what I'm saying. You feel me?
Which we see the town prepping for in the next scene. So this takes us to another new scene introduced in the TV series where Tommy reviews the emergency game plan with the town in case they become overrun. He says,
Stay off the main street. Last place you want to be. Trust me on that.
which is the first street that Tommy takes when the infected actually hit. When he mentions the guns, he says,
Somebody shot themselves in the leg last week. All right, no girl.
which could be a reference to a minor character in The Last of Us Part 1, who was a technician of Jackson's hydroelectric dam. Or it could even be W. Earl Brown, the voice and body actor for Bill in The Last of Us Part 1. After Tommy finishes his instructions with the town, Maria gives Ellie over to Seth to give him a chance to apologize. So this is another scene taken directly from one of the cut scenes in the game with a few minor visual tweaks to fit the set. When he finally does apologize, he says,
I shouldn't have said it. I shouldn't even thought it.
which takes his apology a bit further than it did in game.
I'm trying to say I'm sorry.
In the corner is a sign for Red Hook, a beer brewed in Seattle. Seattle, of course, is where the WLF is based. So this, alongside Ellie's love for the Seattle-based grunge scene, continues to show how these communities are subtly connected in ways they may not even understand, despite their later conflicts. After Ellie hands Jesse the sandwiches, they head out together. Now, in the game, Dina and Ellie get stuck together in a blizzard and take shelter in Eugene's dispensary, which becomes a pivotal moment in their relationship. However,
You just got this
You know what I'm saying?
$250 set in a bold print for $72.
Well, the ads
Which
are
means
crazy.
you also got this $250 look from the one with complimentary Prosecco for $72.
Depend on Chevy's certified service. With tire presage guarantee, Chevy's...
However, the show puts her with Jesse, likely to slow things down a bit between her and Dina and to let their relationship develop more gradually. They can also see the storm on the horizon as they head out, but they completely dismiss it as a threat. Now, while Storm doesn't end up being the real danger, it is symbolic of the hidden threats that Jackson faces in both the infected and outsiders like Abby. Remember, Abby is up in those mountains, and Abby's actions directly cause the infected to wake up and attack the town. So, by dismissing the threat as something just up in the mountains, what they're really dismissing is the very real threat of the cordyceps fungus evolving and actually growing under their feet through the roots and the pipes. In the same way, Joel ignored this threat. He thought he could walk away from Salt Lake City without consequences. So, the storm and the swarm of infected are both indicative of how comfortable people in Jackson are, and they're ignoring the existential threats that are literally outside the gates. They feed the horses, then head into a grow house, a welcome change from the game, where the horses were left hungry and cold in the store lobby. Now, in the game, the grow house was tucked away in the supermarket basement, but here it's moved across the street to a new location entirely. In the game, Dina and Ellie joke about how they wish they'd known about Eugene's dispensary.
I wish he'd told me about this. Could have helped him out.
But here we learn that Jesse, in fact, did, or at least he turned a blind eye to Eugene's operations.
Fuck you, hallucinating.
You 7-Eleven full of weed? Then no.
We later see Ellie find other Easter eggs from the dispensary scene, such as the gas mask bomb. We also see a stack of videotapes next to the TV, which were bootleg porno tapes in the game, but in the show, these are tapes of your mom. We also see a book full of military patches, likely Eugene's from his years when he served in Vietnam. This is also where Ellie finds Eugene's Firefly dog tag, just like in the game, but the changes in the show give the revelation a fresh layer of context. Now, while Eugene supposedly died of old age in the games, the show has changed this so that he was killed by Joel.
You shot and killed my husband.
Jesse even reiterates that again in the grow house.
Raw deal. Joel had put him down.
But we know that Joel hasn't been honest with everyone, and
Yeah, you feel me? He said he put him down. Like, I think that means that he was infected, right? It has to be. Putting somebody down. But if you're putting them down for, like, they were going against you, that's crazy.
so does Ellie. Now, while she is clearly aware of what happened to Eugene, the fact that he was a Firefly was news to her. So her reaction could be her putting together the pieces as to why Joel did this without giving too much away to Jet. Meanwhile, Abby has been tracking down Dina and Joel from afar. In the game, she follow footprints in the snow, which leads her to a road with a single infected frozen to the ground. However, the show changes things up a bit to trigger the massive avalanche of icy infected. In the opening shot, she carries an AR-15 style rifle, but immediately loses it, literally in the first frame as she slides down the hill. The clickers on top turn toward her and alert the infected below them, showing a whole new level of coordination between the infected. As Ward emerges, we even see a clicker with fresh blood on his face, which insinuates that they may even feed off other infected while in that semi-dormant state. I also love how in every single shot of the infected running, there's always one guy out front falling face first, which of course makes total sense in a horde of infected, but you've got to appreciate that consistency. Of course, Abby's escape from the horde was altered a bit to match the size in the show, but it lines back up with the game when Abby gets pinned to the wall.
I'm gonna tell you which shot was nuts, and I hope he shows it right here. The shot where they're hold on, I know it's gonna be
through the chain link fence. We even see some of the infected pushing their hands.
Oh, bro, why? Just why? What even gets accomplished if you get your hand sliced in half? Like,
her hand through the gate, which is one of the brutal details the show adds to the scene that the game just couldn't. After one of the clickers breaks through and grabs Abby, her massive plot armor pulls through and Joel saves her with a nearly one-to-one shot of how they meet in game.
Give me the hand! You're gonna have to run!
Yeah, but person, I thought you said Joel was a xenomorph. Doesn't that mean he hates outsiders?
That's a fair point, Doug, and no, actually Joel's a xenophobe, not a xenomorph. Now, as concerned as Joel is about letting people into Jackson, he doesn't hesitate to save Abby, and tragically that choice ends up costing him his life. The show does a great job of showing just how circumstantial the events around Joel's death are. Not only were most of the Salt Lake crew not fully committed to the cause, but had Joel not saved her and believed her enough to head back to her cabin for supplies, he'd still be up alive. Then we cut back to the Jackson radio tower where we meet Amy, played by Reed Elizabeth. She is an actress who actually used a wheelchair for many years when she was recovering from spina bifida. Her character's name seems to be a reference to former Naughty Dog writer Amy Hennig, known for her work on the Uncharted series. So in the background, we see some fake band posters, including Gold Drifters, Deer Walker, and Killer Against, which seems to be parody-safe ripoffs of bands like Rise Against the Killers and the Drifters. And then we hear Amy call Joel on the radio.
Remind, this is Jackson, come in.
So those call signs refer to what route they are on, and the mine.
I like the way Tommy.
So those call signs.
He doesn't show it, but I like the way Tommy delivered that line when he was like, "Every 10 minutes, Amy. Every 10 minutes." Like I felt that. I was like, bro, he's not fucking off. He needs to go find his brother right now.
Signs refer to what route they are on, and the mine in particular.
Or every 10 seconds, sorry. Every 10 seconds.
DLC map from The Last of Us Factions multiplayer. After Ellie and Jesse head out to find Joel, one of the construction workers invading the pipes in Jackson strikes the cordyceps fungus, redirecting the massive horde straight for Jackson, and even waking up more infected along the way. The way the infected move together like a school of fish shows that the fungus is connected far beyond the roots. Possibly.
I'm not even gonna lie, bro. Like, I don't fully.
Together like a school of fish shows that the
I'm not fully understanding what's going on with the whole fungus network. Like I don't fully understand. I get like the basis of it. It gets touched, it gets aggravated, it gets whatever, and that signals off the rest of them. But like, how is it growing through pipes? You feel me? Like, just what's going on there with that? Like, how far does it extend to? Because if it's getting touched or like aggravated somewhere else, do they split between like which way they're gonna go? Like if it extends all the way to like, I don't know, 10 miles away east, and I'm tapping it, are they gonna start running over to me? And then while they're running over to me, if somebody 10 miles west starts tapping it and cutting it, do they stop and are like, let's go run over there? Like, how does this work like that? Like, right now they're just making it seem like it only is near Jackson, and Jackson is the only people who have, like, touched it or bothered it. Or, I don't know. I don't fully get it, but maybe I'll understand it more as, like, the episode's going.
The fungus is connected far beyond the roots, possibly sharing some sort of telepathic link. And we even get more evidence of this as the episode progresses. As the town begins to execute the battle, and we see everyone take their posts, including Seth the homophobe, showing just how truly dependent everyone in Jackson is on one another, even with their differences. While the entire battle is completely HBO's addition to the story, the way they defend the front gate by walling them and lighting them on fire is similar to the way the Salt Lake crew defends their cabin in the game when they run into Joel and Tommy, but obviously on a much bigger scale. It's also interesting to see humans in modern day.
Hey, Meta, what's thermodynamics?
Thermodynamics is the study of energy and heat transfer.
Yo, these Katie's are fire. Bro, you work here?
Well, kid.
Bro has like 12 ads in a 20-minute video.
Be reduced to medieval texts like this. The fires also signal to Joel from afar about the chaos in Jackson, which adds a new layer of heartbreak to his final moments, as he's torn between what to prioritize, and he ends up making a fatally wrong decision. Now, at first, the plan with the barrels seems to work, but then we get more evidence of the Cordyceps hive mind getting stronger. Tommy notices some of the infected swarming toward a bloater, and immediately recognizes that they are going to breach the gate. The fact that the swarm reinforced the bloater and congregate around it before the breach means that not only are the infected communicating with each other telepathically, but they're also smart enough to make strategic battlefield decisions. As they breach, Tommy suits up with a flamethrower, which is one of the last weapons you obtain in the game, as Joel in Part 1 and as Abby in Part 2. However, unlike the game, these flamethrowers...
I don't even think did I get the flamethrower? I don't even think I got a flamethrower. Wait. No, I did, I think. I think you're like climbing through a building with like lev or something, and then you get it from somebody that's like leaning against. I think so. I think I might have used the flamethrower on the Rat King. I'm not 100% sure, but I think so. I know I didn't use it with Joel for sure. I don't remember that at all.
Flamethrowers have a full tank strapped to their back, unlike the smaller handheld campfire propane tanks that you get in the game. After Maria gets the bloater's attention, Tommy tries to lure them into an alley for a 1 versus 1. And when he reaches the dead end, we can see the bloater coming around the corner in the glass just before Tommy lights him up. Now, in the game, a flamethrower is one of the best weapons can use against bloaters, since the matured fungus is flammable and makes their armor much more brittle. However, yet again, we see more evidence of the fungus evolving. It's shockingly resistant to the flames, and rather than recoiling in pain as they do in the games, this one seems almost immune to the heat. Now, while it finally died at the last second, it certainly seems like the fungus is adapting to human defenses.
But fire is just less effective in the cold snow.
I mean, that's possible, but it's not nearly as fun. Finally, Maria is able to get to the kennels and lets the dogs out on the remaining infected.
Wait, what? Or weren't the doggies get infected?
Not at all. Just like how the real-world Cordyceps fungus is limited to a certain species of ants, the fungus in The Last of Us is exclusive to humans. This is why horses don't become infected after riding through a horde. In fact,
yeah, it's so interesting seeing like a lot of those like flashbacks from season 1, like showing some of those like some of those scenes that they did like originally or that weren't in the game, where they're showing like a lot of the hospital scenes and showing the development of the Cordyceps and stuff and how the fungus like. It's crazy that we're not getting any of that this season. Obviously, you know, like the stories progress, so you're just really focusing more on the characters now rather than like the origins of stuff. But like, I feel like they can still add some of that swag. You feel me? Like I like those. I feel like a lot of people like those. Like, have some randomness somewhere else happen that's affecting what's going on here. It's only been 2 episodes, so they may definitely do that. But like, yeah, I like that stuff.
In fact, that the people of Jackson wanted to make use of these dead infected bodies after the invasion, grinding them up and making them into dog food isn't the worst idea.
Who the f*** starts a conversation like that? I just sat down.
Hello, yes, police? Yeah, he's talking about feeding meat to zombies.
No, other way around. So then we turn back to the Salt Lake crew as Dina and Abby arrive at their cabin. Dina is in bad shape when we get there. The black patches on her hand are 4th-degree frostbite, which can take several weeks or even months to heal, and that's if it doesn't cause permanent nerve damage. In the game, the players have no idea what's about to happen when Joel arrives at the cabin. But in the show, the scene feels so different given that we already know Abby's intentions. Now, while this certainly gives us...
Yeah, see, that was like... There's something about, like, in the game when Tommy was talking to them and, like, getting cordial and, like, you know, being friendly, like, he started leaning up against the thing and was like, yeah, you know, we're just coming from, you feel me? Like, he started talking and doing his little Tommy little Tommy chill vibe talks. And then it was just like, that's my, like, I'm Tommy, that's my brother Joel. And then they showed the thing, and it was like, I don't know. There's something about the way that Tommy is relaxed. And then for them to, like, you know, have what happened to them happen, that it was just like, oh. But, like, here, it was kind of like Joel was, like, he was just on edge already. He was like, yo, we got to go. We got 2 minutes, and then we're leaving. Like, so there wasn't really, like, that springing on him. You know, that springing of surprise. Obviously, we knew from the first scene in the first episode that, like, they already knew. The rest of them didn't know that that was Joel, but she knew. And, like, I don't know. And the way that they did it, like, it was so fast, bro. It was so fast in the game. It was just like, Tommy said Joel, and then he looked up, or Joel said one of them, something like that. And then they all looked up, and then like half a second later, you just seen like, bomb, or like the shot, like it just everything's like bomb, 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 bomb. This one was like, said the name, that's Joel, and then everybody kind of looked up or whatever, and then there was like this stalemate of like, we're just gonna chill and talk for a little bit, and then no, we're gonna do like, it just happened slower. You feel me? Like, it just happened slower. Like I said, again, like, pulling punches. Like, it just felt more, you can say digestible, but I don't know. I like the way that it just, like, in the game, you feel me? I don't know. To each his own. You feel me? To each his own. It was still good, though, but, like,
the scene more tension, it loses some of the shock value the game had by keeping the twist a surprise. So when Abby finally says Joel's name out loud, the entire Salt Lake crew locks eyes on him, just like they do in the game. Even the score changes to the same constant screeching sound heard during the game's cutscene.
Bro, it's like the 10th ad.
A little something, Dad?
Yeah.
Walt rolled his 401k account into...
Dina's presence at Joel's death complicates things as well. Since Tommy was his patrol partner in the game, there was no need to be shy about why Abby
like, look at the way Tommy like,
as well. Since
hold
Tommy
on, bro, look. Tommy is cooling, bro. He not expecting nothing. He thinking they about to offer him a drink. You feel me? Some bourbon, some tequila, something. Y'all look like y'all got it made over here. Like, what's up with y'all? What's going on? Like that? That's how Tommy. Like, he's not expecting nothing to happen right now, bro. Like, that's why I feel like it just slaps you. It slaps everybody. It slaps everyone when it happens. And then him, Jordan. Let's talk about Jordan. He's not in the room. There's like a couple extra little goons and whatever. And I feel like you may feel like, okay, these are just extra characters. We can get the extra characters out the way. He's not an extra character, but he was one of the main reasons of rage for anybody who played the game. He was the one that was going at Ellie. You feel me? He's the one that kicked her in the face, knocked her out. She sliced Ellie. He was like getting mad, like, I'm gonna fucking kill her. Like, like, I remember watching so many people's reactions of like when he was like going to Ellie, like, I'm gonna fucking kill that bitch. Like, everybody was like, I wish you would. I remember, like, he was one of the main reasons that people were getting mad in this scene. So it's crazy that they took him out. And they fused him with Manny. Like, they just made Manny do all the things that he did, which was just interesting to me because there's supposed to be like a likability about Manny later on, you know? So it's crazy that they took Jordan out.
Patrol partner in the game, there's no need to be shy about why Abby would want to kill Joel, which she doesn't really do in the game anyways. However, here it seems like HBO wanted to stretch this moment, but didn't want to let Dina in on Joel's secret yet, so they knock her out. When they do, we can see that she is wearing a specific bracelet that gamers should recognize. This bracelet is a Jewish Hamsa bracelet, worn to prevent harm and bring good fortune. Now, Dina eventually gives this bracelet to Ellie for good luck later in the game, but here it seems like that its luck has run out. In the game, Joel responds to Abby's very first question with,
Why don't you say whatever speech you got rehearsed and get this over with?
which leads Abby to get straight to business.
Straight
but here,
to it.
It seems she
No
actually
words.
gets a chance to say the speech she has rehearsed. Before she starts pulling out putters, she asks Joel to tell the truth, which is a direct parallel to his failure to do so in the first episode. This gives Joel a chance to make a point that he never made in the game when he says,
I saved your life.
right before Abby takes his leg out with the shotgun, which, as brutal as it was still much tamer than it was in the game. Abby then forces Mel to tourniquet Joel's leg to ensure he doesn't bleed out and she can torture him even longer. She tells Joel she was 19 when she found her dad's body, the same age that Ellie is now. And when he hears that, he can't even look her in the eye anymore. Abby then mentions her new mentor in Seattle, referring to Isaac Dixon, the leader of the WLF. She talks about their code of ethics.
We don't kill people that can't defend themselves.
Now that seems to be a shift from the ruthless leader we see in the game, who is more than willing to shoot children and torture naked people. Eventually, she locks eyes with the golf club and grabs it after Joel tells her to.
I have waited
Oh, shut the f up and do it already.
Echoing his initial response from the game when Abby hits him back with her most iconic line.
You don't get to rush this. You don't get to rush this.
And then she
Yeah,
starts
she's-
swinging at the open shotgun wound on his knee.
She's tough. She's tough. Like anytime she speaks, bro, I'm not worried about nothing. Like I know I'm hearing Abby. She may not be swole, but like she's giving Abby. It's giving Abby. It's giving. You feel me? Like everything, the cadences, the like all the breath control, like everything that she's doing is Abby for me. You feel me? I'm rocking with it. Shout out Caleb.
Rather than at his face like she does in the game. Now, by the time Ellie stumbles upon Joel's tracks, it's already far too late. Ironically, she enters through the basement in the show to find Joel upstairs, which is the opposite of how it happens in the game. As Ellie heads back into the room, she's blocked off by Manny, who she slices in the face. Now, in the games, she sliced Jordan, another crew member absent from the show, so it looks like HBO is making Manny take that hit instead. Specifically, she cuts over the eye rather than across the cheek like she does to Jordan in the game. Ellie's heartbreaking dialogue as she cries on the floor is replicated nearly word for word from the scene of the game.
End it.
Now. You feel me? Look at this height difference. Look at this height
Word
difference.
for word from the scene of the game.
End it.
It's like towering over her here.
Now.
Right here, they're like, you feel me? Like eye to eye, like you can feel that tension. Like, what? Oh, I'll keep going if I want to. Like, you feel me? Like, there, yeah. You know? It's interesting. It's a very interesting thing right there.
Joel, get up.
Joel, get up.
Joel.
You. I don't want to keep doing this. Bella Ramsey seems like a very great person, man. She seems like a very great person, and I feel like if I seen her in anything else that had to do with like, you know, more childlike, whimsical Disney, you know, funny, zany role, I feel like she'd be an A+++++. But you can't tell me that you listen to these two and feel the same thing.
Joel, get up.
Joel, get up.
Joel, get up.
Get up!
That one I like. The second get up was hard. I like that one, but like the rest of it was just like a whimpering. You feel me? Like the way Ellie was talking, it's like nobody else was even in the room. Matter of fact, like she didn't even care. It was like, bro, like Joel, bro, I know you, bro. Like let's get through this. Let's get up. Let's go, bro. Like we're soldiers. Like you feel me? Like that's the way game Ellie sounded. This one, Bella sounded so scared, and obviously like she's scared. This is a terrible fucking situation, but like it just sounded like more whimpery, more.
Now.
Joel, get up.
Joel, get up.
Joel, get up.
We even hear the same score replicated again with a loud, oscillating, ear-piercing as Abby delivers the final blow, just like it does in the game.
That
I've seen a lot more shots of Pedro Pascal
interesting choice right here.
As in the game.
Boom, screech. No. Impale. deafening sound, silence, no yelling. Like, it was just, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's hard to say stop comparing because you kind of have to. But I don't know. Like, I feel like they went for. It's not bad. It's not bad. I just feel like that impact of boom, deafening sound, deafening screech. No. Like, hits me. It hits me. This one is kind of like I'm observing what's happening rather than like feeling like I'm in it.
For a person, I've seen a lot more shots of Pedro Pascal in
I don't
trailers.
know.
Is he really dead?
Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments which final blow you liked more. Obviously, there's probably gonna be a lot more people that are more so leaning towards the game, but just the decision. If you did like the TV show Final Blow more, explain to me why in the comments, because I personally do want to, like, you know, I want to understand the decision. Like, I like it, it's cool, but it's super interesting to make that choice for it.
Was coming back at this point as if he's a clicker, but you're definitely right that we are going to see Pedro Pascal again this season. The game, Last of Us Part 2, loves a good flashback, and there are still many unanswered questions about what happened in the 4 years between seasons 1 and 2. So immediately, Ellie vows to kill Abby, resetting the vicious cycle of revenge that these two have found themselves in.
Because I'm with you to the end of the line.
However, after the Slate crew leaves, Ellie isn't knocked out like she is in the game, which gives her this incredibly emotional moment to grieve on top of Joel's body. Now, as the episode closes out, we hear Through the Valley by Sean James, covered by Ashley Johnson, who is the voice of Ellie. She also played Ellie's mother in a flashback scene in season 1. And
Ashley,
this has
man.
bothered me for a long time. She wore the same coat that Ellie wears in the present day. Not the heavy spoilers for that reference. Now, this song that Ashley Johnson sings was also the song used in the initial reveal trailer for The Last of Us Part 2 at PlayStation Experience in 2016.
Bro, anytime I hear any one of the songs from one of those, like, you know, the demos or like the first trailer announcements or like this or E3 or wherever it is, like, anytime I hear them first tunes and first notes hit from any one of those, I'm just like, man, I feel it. I feel it right here. Right there, bro. Like, whew.
2016. However, while that initial reveal trailer focused the song on Ellie, show seems to refocus it on Abby instead. The opening lyric is the Bible verse Psalm 23:4, and it's about standing with your conviction and your faith. And with Abby walking away successful, she certainly has remained solid in her convictions. It also mentions how the singer is blind to it all, and how her mind and her gun is the only thing that brings her comfort, echoing the assumed relief that Abby must feel after finally accomplishing her mission. The final lyrics of the song are, "But I know when I die, my soul is damned," which is a fitting note for the episode to end on. Abby knows that she cannot be redeemed for her actions any more than Joel could. She even broke her own code to do this, and on top of it all,
that's all I was thinking right here.
My soul is damned, which is a fitting note for the episode to end on. Abby knows that she...
That's all I was thinking. Like, when she's walking around here, you can see her face. Like, she's not satisfied, bro. She's not satisfied. Like, I mean, obviously, she's not just gonna come out of it like smiling and happy and dapping people up and whatnot. But you can just see, bro. Like, it's stuck. It's stuck on it. It's in her. That's not leaving. It's not. She can do whatever she wants to do after that, bro. That's who she is from now on. Like, I know she thought that she was getting, you know, the satisfaction that she wanted, but like, bro, once you get there, you're there.
She cannot be redeemed for her actions any more than Joel could. She even broke her own code to do this, and on top of it all, she has made Ellie into the same monster that she has become. Now, with town in complete disarray, the impact of Joel's death could have an even bigger impact on the show than it did in the game, which is saying a lot given that Joel's early death was one of the central controversies of Last of Us 2. For instance, the people of Jackson now have to rebuild without their chief villain. Now, with all that said, Naughty Dog's willingness to take narrative risks is what makes The Last of Us so great, so we cannot wait to see what's in store for the next episode. Guys, that's everything we caught second episode of Last of Us Season 2.
Shout out to you, brother. Fire shot. Yeah, bro. This is definitely a moment. It's definitely a moment. This is an episode that a lot of people were looking forward to for a long time, and it's finally here. We finally have it, and I'm sure there'll be a million think pieces this way and that way and this way and that way about it. I personally liked the episode. If I had to give it a rating out of 10, I'd probably like a 9. And the only thing holding it back, there's just certain moments that just don't hit. Like, they hit, but they just don't, the same. But my biggest thing that I'm looking forward to going on for the rest of the season, I've been having a couple of conversations with some people about it, like a lot of like Bella apologists and defendists and stuff. Like, listen, I'm not against Bella Ramsey, you feel me? Like, I personally think that she can act and she's a great actor. So this is the thing going forward. This moment, obviously, we know it's traumatizing. It fucks Ellie up forever. Like, there's no going back. There's no buddy nothing with nobody about anything. I'm out for blood, murder. You feel me? Shout out Tupac. Like, going forward, she needs to be that person tenfold. There's no more. Obviously she's gonna be with Dina a lot, and they're gonna have some of their jokey moments and their book puns and their dad jokes and all that, and I get that. But it can't just revert back to like super duper silly, goofy nonsense every now and then. Like, you gotta grow, you gotta strap them boots up. It's time for war. You feel me? Like, I have to believe that this is about to be, a young teenager that's about to set out across America to Seattle to destroy people's lives. It can't be some like whimpering, cowering, like I just lost my dad type energy. It gotta be like, hey, I'm going out there dolo if I have to. Like, I got business to handle, you feel me? So that's what I'm hoping I see in episode 3. If somehow we're still getting like jokey, screaming to the world, I'm immune, like Ellie, then I don't know how I'm going to feel about watching the rest of the show. But I have faith. I think she's good. I think she can do it. I hope she can do it. That's it. See you next week.